Please welcome to the stage Mr. Don Hall.
Trying something new. I'm going to read from an iPad. In Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, there's a story of big tobacco trying to figure out what made smoking cool. They identified the type of kid who starts smoking in high school to find out what about smoking was attractive to this kid and why he started up on cancer sticks in the first place. Now, this kid was generally anti-authoritarian, independent thinking, sexually promiscuous, and on the cutting edge of popular culture. The discovery that big tobacco made was that smoking wasn't cool, smokers were cool. Now, with that model in mind, let's take a look at art and the artist. Is art cool? The kid that becomes an artist in high school wears unusual clothing, intentionally bucks a systematic conformism that is taught in American high schools, marches to the beat of the whack-ass drum in his head. He paints instead of goes out for football. She writes gothic death poetry instead of trying out for the cheerleading squad. The kid that aspires to become an artist is anti-authoritarian and independent thinking. Art isn't cool. Artists are. So where'd that kid go? Now, we idolize that kid in films and books, even something as artistically suspect as the movie Footloose espouses the rebel artist, willing to break the rules so that the skinny kid can do the robot in a barn. Our mythic heroes are rule breakers and miscreants. One of the most popular television dramas ever created is about New Jersey criminals. And one of the most popular movie trilogies of all time is populated with pirates. Okay, try and name one cool character in history who is conformist and law-abiding. Even Jesus Christ was a complete fringe rebel fighting the conformist dogma of the day. So don't hand me some right-wing conservative nonsense about being a good, obedient Christian. Where did that kid with all that self-respect and independence go? The common picture is that he grew up and out of his childlike ways. That today's liberal, progressive, anti-government long-hair just needs to get a job, make some money, have some kids, and he'll naturally become conservative in his thinking. And this equates conformism and materialism with adulthood and wisdom. And it just doesn't bear out empirically. Mahatma Gandhi was a rule breaker. Churchill was a rebel. John Brown might have been crazy, but he was right. In the improvisational theater world, Del Close is idolized, but his progressive ideas and artistic challenges are, for the most part, used to get ahead in the industry and become a star. American Idol is never going to pave the way for another Bob Dylan. Jack Kerouac wasn't a bestseller until he was dead. Waiting for Godot was under threat of being banned in its English language premiere because the Lord Chamberlain claimed the word erection was indecent. Beckett refused to change it, the play went on. Now today, theater artists are so timid that the threat of being shut down because smoking in a theater in a play that calls for smoking is instantly compromised, and the vagina monologue is changed to the hoo-ha monologues without batting an eye. Where did that fucking badass, to hell with the consequences kid disappear to? The fact is, we need to revolutionize the system, or at least our perspective of it. The massive paradigm shift needs to happen. Here's the part where I tear off my shirt, I make a flag out of it, and I scream, "Viva la revolution!" And I run around mad and knock some shit off the shelves and stuff, and I'm like a mad, passionate loon, and I'm desperately hoping enough artists will rise up from the stupor of constant compromise and fear of poverty, and nothing happens. No, nothing happens. Why? Why? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not that compelling. But why is it so hard for us to refuse to accept this rampant mediocrity? Did we really all buy into the message that all we need to do is get a real job because theater isn't a profession? Did we all swallow the equity theater Kool-Aid that insists you aren't a professional unless you're getting health insurance? Are we just satisfied with a simple-minded dreck served up on Broadway and regional houses everywhere? Where are my outlaws? Where'd it go? Without the criminals, we'd still be required by papal law to only perform morality plays from the Bible. See, it took cats who risked being tortured and hung to break that door down. The revolution's not a big thing. It's not one big thing. It's a series, just like the song we just heard, of individuals willing to take the heat brought down on the head of those who will not conform and will not be silenced. The revolution is an individual one, and that's where the kids went. Now, we all agree, artists they really don't think they're doing money. The level of effort and passion put into the work they do is in no way commensurate with the ducats received for said work. No shit. Neither do public school teachers. When I taught public school, and yeah, God bless those kids, I taught public school, I saw the administration often bend over and throw the teachers under the wheels of the fucking bus going round and round because of the loud, angry parent convinced that his or her child is not required to be responsible for being a lazy, spoiled shithead. Almost always trumps the beleaguered teacher, slowly crippled by the day-to-day fighting of a system hell-bent on marginalizing their efforts with lower pay than he or she deserves, combined with the increased classroom sizes, decades-old textbooks, and a mandate that punishment is somehow anathema to those dedicated to education. I wager that if teachers stood up to the many levels of parental bullshit they are made to face, they'd get more money doing what they do and leave this dispirited state of resignation that has infected our public schools. I'd wager that they'd get a second wind if they politely told the parent of the child who's been absent 30 times but insists that her child pass the grade to stuff her entitled attitude up her crusty ass. That little fucker's going to show up and do the work or lag behind, and got support from the administration for saying it. But even if they didn't get administrative or political support, the act of standing up and saying, fuck you, I'm a goddamn teacher, has power. When I look at my many artist friends, I see a similar acceptance of this second-class treatment. I see people so cowed by the prospect of either making it or not, of defining their value in terms of money or audience size or the ability to justify their existence through social service in order to get grants, that there's a strange and inexplicable conservatism in a field known for its abandonment of the status quo. Art should not be the lapdog of the wealthy. And too many artists explain away things by being embarrassed or shamed into hiding their passion for the art for art's sake and trumpeting instead art's economic value to the community at large. I see an actor treated poorly in a bar by a 20-year producer at Steppenwolf and accept it because he really doesn't want to offend someone with so much power in the industry. I see a stage manager treated like a grunt by the founder of Second City, and people stand by and act with that treatment as if it's acceptable. I see artists slaving over grant proposals that require justification of their request in the form of business savvy rather than artistic merit, and contests that reward popularity rather than substance. I don't blame them. No more than I blame teachers for accepting their prescribed lack of power in the school system, but every once in a while. And I love it when I see an artist stand up and say to power, fuck you, I'm a goddamn artist. Because I see the most creative people on the planet in Chicago, filled with passion, taking risks. I see artists who slave away for no financial reward, who can manufacture amazing things with no money at all, and achieve stories that transport us in ways that nothing else can. I see the keepers of the flame of society, reminding us what it is to be human, forcing us to live vicariously through the lives of heroes and villains and the ordinary man in extraordinary circumstances. They hold in their hands the power to make us laugh, cry, think. They own the concept of collaboration and teamwork and delegation. They own it. So I like to say to power, to the system, to the people who marginalize the small artist creating his or her art, stating it as his or her art, fuck you. You're goddamn artists, and they're cooler than you are.